Hey, everybody. Guess what? We have a great show for you today. Our guest this afternoon is Sora Venikoff. Now, looking at some of the things that have, this year has just started. And everybody went into the year with all these New Year's resolutions. Oh my God, I'm going to just change this and that. And I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get in shape. That's one of the main goals that people have. When I worked as a trainer, we saw that all the time. And by this time of the year, or at least by the early of next month, most of those people would have already dropped off. Now, since women are suffering from things like heart disease and cancers, and not to mention your self-esteem is affected by the way that you don't like what you see when you look in the mirror. I thought it would be good to get someone in who could address these things and why you overeat or choose the food that you choose to eat, and what might be behind the fact that you aren't really taking as good a care of yourself as you should. Okay. This all ties in together with everything that we're doing this month with taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. So let me bring on my guest for today. This is Sora Venikoff. Sora is a no diet weight loss coach. She doesn't believe in diets. Okay, so that's the number one thing. She believes in you getting control of yourself and the food choices that you make, and she healed herself of compulsive eating and has helped hundreds of people who diet do the very same thing. So let me get her on here so she can tell us a little bit more about herself. Hey, Sora,
Hey, Deborah.
welcome to the show.
Saying hello from Manhattan.
Oh, we have a lot of people here from the East Coast, so I'm sure they're like right in there with you. So give
Awesome.
us a little bit of information, a little more about your background and how you came to, write this book.
Yes, well, over 20 years ago, I used to teach in East New York, Brooklyn. And, it's a really challenging area, and I had really challenging kids. And I used to diet, take off the weight, and put it back on all the time. And one day I was standing in front of my 35 fourth graders a long time ago, and I said to myself, hey, Sora, how come these kids who walk, talk, and do those other things listen to you? But food has no animate qualities. You can't stop thinking about it, and you can't stop eating. This is unacceptable. So all of a sudden, I had an idea, and that idea was, why don't I stop dieting? Why don't I just eat the foods that I really want, not the one slice of cheese and the three peas 3 times a week, and I couldn't do it anymore. And I said, but I knew something was wrong in my mind because I thought about food all the time. So I had a sense that the problem wasn't the food, there was something wrong in my mind. And so what happened was I made a commitment to myself to take on this challenge. I decided to eat any food that I wanted, but, but with that, I journaled every eating experience before, during, and after for years because I wanted to find out what
Hmm.
the thought patterns were attached to my eating before I had the food, while I was having the food, and then after I had the food. And it's because of that journaling, the permission I gave myself to have the foods that I wanted. I lost 25 pounds, which I've kept off since 84. And I saw what the problem was. I, I saw the problem. It was in my journaling. Every day, every meal, I saw the problem. So when I lost the 25 pounds, which was my goal weight, taking it off, I knew that I could transfer my classroom management techniques to food management techniques. And I developed this easy to use, no diet, eat and stop yourself program. And that's what the book is about. So
That is
I
amazing.
thank you. I do love my program. There is nothing like my program.
I think that is very important because self-control and knowing why you do the things you do. I mean, any of my listeners can tell you that's the platform that this whole channel operates on. Why do
Oh,
you do the stuff that you do? Why do you say the things that you say? Why do you treat yourself the way that you do? Is an
mm.
overriding theme. So this fits in perfectly.
Oh, I'm
Tell
thrilled.
me what were some of your discoveries about, what was going on with you over that 2-year period when you were journaling?
Yes. Well, I'll tell you the main thing I learned because that has to do with the development of the techniques that are in the system. What I learned, Deborah, was every time I ate, no matter what I ate, nothing was enough. Nothing was enough. So I kept thinking to myself, wow, I don't know how much is enough. I don't know how much is enough. And there are times I don't want enough. And there are times I do want enough. So I thought that I was split. There are times I wanted to eat and stop, and I thought, okay, that's enough. And then there were times I never wanted to stop, and I never wanted enough. So I went on this road journey. I mean, I never said that before, but I went on this road journey of coming to peace with both parts of my mind, the part of me that wanted enough and wanted to stop, and then the part of me that didn't want enough and didn't want to stop. And I actually created the system based on these two concepts. But the whole thing was that the system is set up to let you know, no matter what you eat, you're going to have enough. And once you see through these physical markers I developed that you know you're going to have enough even before you put that cake in your mouth, and that you can stop yourself, you take the power back from the food, you're in control, and you can eat any food you want. Because the trick is, my whole system is based on I can give myself enough food. I don't need the deprivation of the diet. I don't need 4 people in a corporate boardroom telling me what I should or shouldn't eat. I'm a grown-up woman. I'm paying my rent. I'm holding a job. I should be able to decide how much is enough. And I became very passionate about that whole concept of I can give myself enough food. I am not going to starve to death. And that's what my program is built on, that I'm enough and that I can give myself enough.
That is that's, pretty powerful stuff because, you see, I used to work in the fitness industry, and one of the things that what used to drive me crazy was that people would go from whatever's the fad diet of the moment. And then there were the classics like, Weight Watchers and things that were considered to be
Yeah.
pretty pretty standard. But, the zone diet and Atkins and the cabbage diet and the rice diet and the liquid diet and the smoothie diet and all these things. I mean, and the women would, they would lose weight, but they'd also lose muscle mass. So their muscle would be flat and stringy, and they would end up flabby, and
Yeah.
then it would gain all the weight back. So obviously, diets don't work. And so,
Well,
what's your take on that?
well, first of all, what I like to say about diets, before I tell you why diets don't work and make it very simple for your audience to understand it. If diets work, Deborah, why would we need so many? I mean,
Bam.
okay. So if diets work, Deborah, why would you need 100 diets? Because diets don't work. So I'm going to tell you why diets don't work, and your listeners are going to be able to see it, and they're going to go, oh my God. So I want your listeners to think of a diet as a clock. We start at 12 o'clock. Oh my God, I have to lose weight. I have to find a diet because I have a boyfriend now and I have to lose weight. So you pick a diet. What is a diet? A diet is a group of rules made by 4 people in a corporate boardroom, 4 nutritionists. They decide what you can have, what you can't have, and don't trust yourself because you came to us because you're not in control. So you go on this diet and you follow their rules. Now we're on the clock. Let's get to 3 o'clock. I'm good, good, good. Hey, I'm following the rules of the diet. I'm a good person. I deserve whatever I want. But then we get to 6 o'clock. Oh my God, I can't take this diet anymore. I just want one more piece of bread. I just want one Oreo cookie. So you put your hand in the bag with the Oreo cookies, you go through the bag, and you have a diet binge, you diet overeat. Now, what is that diet binge and diet overeating about? What you're doing, ironically, is you're doing the only thing you can do to take back the control of the rules of the diet. So you're really doing the right thing because you want to be in control and you're not in control. So you binge to take back the rules, the tact control from the diet. But the other side of that is then you go, oh my God, what did I just do? Look what I just did. I'm a terrible person. I can't stay in control of myself. I can't even follow a diet. So after you do what you can only do to take back the control, then you beat yourself up for taking back the control. Let's go to 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. I have this boyfriend. I have to look good. I can't do this. I can't trust myself. Look what I just did. And so you go back to 12 and you go back on the diet, knowing full well in the back of your mind, there's another the binge on the way. Diets don't work because they're about deprivation. They're not your rules, and nothing is enough. That's
Oh
why
boy.
diets.
That is just some depressing stuff. How much of control can people expect to have when they're constantly put in a situation where they're eating for social reasons? Like, say you're a business executive, you have a lot of business dinners, or your family has a big Sunday night, dinner every week. And how can people get their minds together to combat situations like that?
Well, you just used an interesting word, combat. I don't do combat. See, you're fighting food. Already you're in trouble because that which you resist persists. So now you're putting the food, giving it all the power, and you're going to combat the food. So I'm here to say that you don't have to combat the food once you learn how to use the system, which lets you make peace with the food. It it's very different. It's a peaceable approach. And the way you can go every Sunday to have dinner is to learn how to use one of the techniques I developed, which is called the green technique. And then I have other management strategies. But once you learn how to use the green technique, you can eat any food that you want, you can drink any liquid that you want, and you will know when you stop yourself. So you know, when you know that you can stop, like having a podcast now, you know when it's going to be over. So you're in control. But if you go to that Sunday dinner and you feel you have to go like this from the food, you're not in control, honey. So what I did is I developed this technique that always gives you the control, and which is why my system is so unique. I mean, if I didn't have my system and I didn't know when to stop myself, trust me, I'd be on the show, The 600-Pound Life. It's like, I never wanted to stop. So that's why, because already, Deborah, you're fighting the food, and my system teaches you to embrace it and make it your friend.
Okay, so let's talk about this, the two types of food thoughts that are keeping you weight loss challenged.
Exactly. So
I
in my
love that phrase, weight loss challenged.
yeah, so in all of my journaling, I came to this amazing insight. We only think about two types of food a day, and they're either it's called an inside food thought caller or an outside food thought caller. So what is an inside food thought caller? That's when you feel a hunger signal and you say, what do I want to have? Should I have scrambled eggs? And that signal feels better. That's your body telling you it wants scrambled eggs. So that's called an inside food caller. Now, there are times you just want to chew, but not on food. That's an inside gum caller. Then there are times your body is calling for a cold drink. That's an inside cold drink caller. And then your body is calling for a hot drink on other days. That's an inside hot drink caller. Now, just like there are 4 inside food callers, there are 4 similar types of outside food callers. I'm walking down the street in Manhattan. I smell pizza. Oh, I think I'll have a piece of pizza. I see a pack of gum on my girlfriend's table. I think I'll have some gum. I go to a party and there's some punch. Oh, I think I'll have some punch. Or I'm at a ski lodge and everybody's having hot chocolate. Oh, I think I'll have hot chocolate. Now, those signals didn't come from inside my body. They came from external, outside of me. So I call them outside callers. So you have 4 inside callers and 4 outside callers. And usually people who struggle with their weight, including myself, we're not in touch with our inside food callers. It took me 10 years to figure out that I actually could feel hunger, So basically the troubling food when you go to that dinner on Sunday is the outside food caller. You have all these outside food callers on that table and you're in combat with them. I can't help but use that word because that's exactly what I'm here to end.
Well, that's exactly how it feels sometimes, because you might say, and it's just sometimes it's cultural. And I ran into this when I went to the South. Being raised in San Francisco, we didn't run into this. But when you go, into certain environments, people expect you to eat. And I was taught not, well, I'm telling you, because I would say no, thank you, right? I say no, thank you.
Right.
What, you Yankees are too good to eat our food? I was so shocked. Here I am, all of 18, 19 years old. I didn't know how to
Wow.
deal with that. And it's a cultural thing. And so
Okay, so
they
here's what
expect you to, to take some.
okay, so here's what I say to you. What anyone thinks of me is none of my business. If I mean, you can, what you think of me is none of my business. I think if I do a 50-50 brain, 50% like me, 50% don't, that's okay. So and I've also learned that you have to have certain canned answers for obnoxious people. So for example, let's say I went to a party and said, they say, eat, eat, eat. I mean, I'm Jewish, and eat, eat, eat is just very similar to what you faced. Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
you're not going to finish what's on the plate? Oh, eat, 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 So I would say, excuse me, I'm on a diet. You see, that would close them up.
Ah.
Right. So I would lie. But people who know me know I don't diet. Or if let's say somebody um, who knew me said that to me, I would say, excuse me, but my book wouldn't like what you just said. See,
That's a
you,
struggle. This is a struggle.
you have to
I
have
think that would have been helpful for me to know before I went to Houston. Oh, I struggle with that. And I ate so many things. I mean, just a couple of bites, but to be quote polite and not insult, inadvertently insult people. It was hard. That was
Well, the
very hard.
next time you just tell them you're on a diet, or if you don't want to tell them you're on a diet, say, you know what I would say to them? Excuse me, whose mouth is this? Mine or yours? This
Oh, I
is
wasn't saying that to anybody's grandmother. Oh no.
um oh
But I do like the diet one. That would have gotten me out of everything.
just tell them you're on a diet.
Yeah.
Tell them
Good answer.
I got answers for everything when it comes to this, believe me.
So I want to let the audience know you guys are listening. They're giving you a lot of props. One lady says, "Oh, she's so cute."
Ah,
But
thank you, thank you.
if you ladies have questions, just tag my name. You do the @ sign and my full name. You can't say @Deb because it won't highlight. I need to be highlighted so I notice that you have a question, and then I'll read it off to Sora and she can answer it for you. This is for anyone who's struggling with some of the things we just mentioned: dieting, weight loss, staying focused, and not letting food control your life. You want to get in control of the food. I like
See,
that.
yes, you see, I'm all about controlling the food and not letting the food control me, and that's how my system is built.
So let's talk about beverages. How does because soda, we just used to refer to it as a sugar delivery system because it has no nutritional value whatsoever, and people drink a lot of it, just packs on the pounds. Do you have any tips for drink beverage? What kind of beverages are good, or I mean, what's your story on the beverage tip?
Okay, you're not gonna like my answer.
Oh
Okay,
no,
okay, so you're not gonna like my answer, but I'm just gonna say it the way it is. I'm an equal opportunity choice of food, choice of beverage person because I will not let any beverage or food hold me hostage. So I think before I fairly answer that question, I would like to teach the audience how to use the green technique so they learn how to actually eat the food they want and stop themselves. Once I teach it to them, then I'll apply that to liquids and you'll see what I mean.
oh,
Um,
go for it. I'm all ears.
Okay, so in my book, I talk about two specific kinds of foods. I told you we have inside callers and outside callers. I
Right.
also I also divided food into two categories, chewables and liquids, because there's only two things you can put in your mouth, something you chew to digest or something you drink to digest. So first, let's think about a chewable, and I'm gonna ask you and then everyone listening out there to do the same, and we'll do it together. So, Deborah, what food what food is it the hardest for you to stop eating? We're gonna do this together. So what food is really tough for you? It's in front of you, like is it French fries? Is it chocolate cake? What's the toughest? When you're sitting there, you feel what's the food you're in combat with?
Hmm. I would have to say probably one of my favorite things to eat, believe it or not, is mashed potatoes.
Okay, I love mashed potatoes. Okay, mashed potatoes. Okay, well, I'll work with mashed potatoes with you. All right, now I want everyone who's listening, I want you to think of the food that gives you the hardest time stopping. Just take a moment and think about that food. And I'm just going to give you, I'm going to count 3 seconds. And then the first food that comes to your mind, I want you to stay with it. Okay, Deborah, there's mashed potatoes on your Sunday table. You have your plate in front of you. I want you to look. This is the happiest you've looked on the whole interview. I want you to look at that bowl of mashed potatoes. And I want you to think about how much is enough. And I want you to take a pretend moment and take those mashed potatoes and put them on your plate. Do that now. And I want everyone that's listening, if I want you to, if it's a chocolate bar, I want you to think about how much of the chocolate bar is enough. If it's a bag of pretzels, how many pretzels in the bag is enough. Everybody's thinking about how much is enough that's in front of them. When you've done that, let me know. Okay, so now you put the mashed potatoes that you decided were enough on your plate. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, you made it a little more difficult for me because you're taking the food from another plate as opposed to the mashed potatoes being put on your plate. So we have to do this again. So now I want you to look at the mashed potatoes on your plate, and I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. And I want everyone, all the listeners, to do the same. Look at the food in front of you and say, how much is enough and how much is too much? And when you've decided how much is too much, I want you to pick a time on the clock, and I want you to move the amount that's too much to that time. That's called your marker. For those of you who are listening who picked a candy bar and you want the whole bar, you can scrape a little bit off the back of the bar to decide how much is enough, okay? But I want you to do that now. Take a pretend moment. The mashed potatoes are on your plate. How much is enough? How much is too much? Even if it's a tiny, tiny bit, you need to push away a marker. I want you to do that now. So rethink that enough business. How much is enough? How much is too much? You might change from having,
Okay.
All right.
I've mentally done that gymnastic trick.
Okay, so now you have your mashed potatoes, the amount you decided was enough, and then you pick the time on your plate and you put whatever amount you put on that was too much called your marker.
Okay.
Are we good with? Okay, now I want you to pretend to eat the amount you decided was enough. So all of your listeners, I want you to pretend to eat the amount you decided was enough, but not your marker. Not your marker. All right, I'm gonna count to 3. Okay, you've all just eaten the amount of that food that you decided was enough. Now it's time to look at your marker. Everyone, look at the marker that you left over. Look at the marker that you didn't eat, okay? That marker is your visual reminder that you ate and stopped yourself. Why? Because you had enough.
I love that. Look at you.
That's the magic. Let's say that you hadn't done that technique on the plate. I promise you that you would have eaten all the mashed potatoes, and since you're totally out of touch with how much is enough, you would have taken another spoonful out of the plate. Now, let's say you say to me, but hey, Sora, I only have mashed potatoes once a week, and I really love them. So I'm going to say this to you. Look at the big bowl on the table. Ask yourself, what do I want more, my weight loss or more mashed potatoes? All right. Now, if you want more mashed potatoes, exactly. If you want more mashed potatoes, take some more, but make sure that you have your marker, because if you don't have a marker for your mashed potatoes, then you're doing what's called pre-programmed eating. Nothing is enough, and you can't eat and stop yourself.
Oh boy. Well, luckily, okay, in my mind, I had like this mountain. Probably about, I don't know, maybe 2 cups worth, and if you measured it, 1.5 cups, 2 cups worth, and
Okay.
then I just cut it in half.
But you see how that thinking, you see all the work in this technique, in the green technique, is done before you eat. See, nothing is done afterwards. First, you have to ask yourself the 2 questions. How much is enough? How much is too much? Then you have to separate the amount that's too much from the amount that's enough. Now you're in control. You eat the amount you decided was enough. You look at your marker and go, I stopped myself because I had enough. But if you don't have your marker, there's no stopping.
Well, you starting to get some questions in, so let me attack some of
Awesome.
these. The first one is from Ash, and she says, do you have any tips for people who are trying to cut back on sweets when it's so emotionally comforting when I feel sad?
Ash, here's, you're not going to like my answer, Ash, but if you use the green technique and you read the book I wrote, you can eat as much chocolate as you want when you're sad and you're going to lose weight.
There's your answer, Ash. Because really, like if you eat all that and then you get on the scale and you find you've gained 5 pounds, man, that makes you even sadder.
But you see, no, but this is a very important teaching moment. You see, Ash uses the food to comfort herself when she's sad. So not only is she out of control to being sad, which is fine, but then she's out of control to what she uses to feel better, which makes her feel worse. So what I'm saying is, believe me, feel sad all you want, but at least know that you're managing the food. Because to be sad and to be out of control to the food, that's a double whammy.
Gotcha. Let's see. Here's another question from Brooklyn.
Yay, Brooklyn, I'm from Brooklyn.
She says how to control sugar craving. Oh, this is a very similar issue.
Yeah.
I thought I needed to eat more protein, but I still crave sugar, especially during stress at work. So it's pretty much a similar issue there.
Well, the system has two techniques. What I'm sharing with you on this broadcast is one technique. But once you read the book, you'll learn the red technique as well. And the green technique, I promise that if you read the book and use the green and the red technique, you will be able to eat more pizza and chocolate and lose weight.
I want everybody to know there's a link to Sora's book in the show description page below, right to Amazon. So just scroll down the show description page. You can click that link and order the book there. We would appreciate that. And then the show gets credit for the purchase.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Tara has a question also. I do believe in the wintertime, you eat more and eat less in the summer. Does that make a difference as well? P.S. I drink tequila and vodka and juices from lemons and limes. My girl.
Okay.
She lost me on the tequila. I don't mess with that stuff, but I'll drink vodka.
Okay, so and what's her name?
Tara.
Tara. Okay, no. No, Tara. It's all the same, okay? But I will tell you now how to drink and stop, because you had asked me that, Deborah. So you use the green technique when you want to drink and stop. So let's say your weight's coming on from the tequila and the vodka. Here's what you do, Tara. You get your tequila, and because you have to ask yourself before you drink it, how much is enough and how much is too much. Now, you can't spill out the amount that's too much because that's not polite, okay? So what do? You look at the glass, you say, how much is enough, how much is too much? Then you drink the amount that you decided was enough, but don't drink the marker that you decided was too much. And then after you drank the amount you decided was enough, you look at what you left over, the marker, and you go, yes, I drank and stopped. I had enough, and my marker lets me know I'm in control.
Oh, I love that. All right. Oh, yeah. Somebody else agrees with me. Garlic mashed potatoes smothered in butter. Robin. Okay.
But Robin, Robin, don't make the mashed potatoes your enemy. I'm here to tell you that mashed potatoes are harmless little potato stubs. All you need to do is use the green technique, learn the red technique, and I promise you, you'll make peace with your mashed potatoes.
This sounds so good. Okay, here's another question from Sue. She says, I'm never hungry in the mornings. I miss breakfast a lot. Is there any way I can start having breakfast?
No, because if you don't want to eat in the morning, then I'm not going to force you to. I mean, I can't imagine life without breakfast. But if that doesn't make you happy, I think you should eat breakfast just from the health perspective. Mm-hmm. But that's not something that I address. I'm only about control over the food. My whole thing is, like I say in the beginning of my book, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a nutritionist. I didn't want that food running my life. And it was running my brain and it was running my mouth. So I'm all about, who do you want to manage you? Do you like, it's like being a school teacher. I manage the kids. They don't manage me. That's it.
And you make a note, talking about writing down what you eat. I guess that's kind of like the journaling process that you
Yeah.
did. So this is a good technique. And how does that help women stay in control?
Well, first of all, I really believe I write down everything. So I feel unless you write down what you eat, and especially if you use the system and then you put it in the column, did you use the green technique? Did you use the red technique? How can you really be, you don't know what you're putting in your mouth all day with your busy schedule. And then you say, oh, but I didn't lose any weight. Well, did you mark down what you really had? I just think I'm all about accountability. And what I'll tell you listeners is this: there will be days you don't feel like writing down what you eat. So just write down resistance to writing down, resistance to writing down. But you should communicate with that paper and keep track on yourself. Like maybe every Wednesday you resist writing down, just write it down. You know what I'm saying? Like don't fight the resistance. Don't fight the mashed potatoes. Like just, I'm into like, we make peace with these things.
Is there any, I mean, writing down, you're talking about pen and paper. Can people use one of these, food tracker apps?
No, because if they use my system, they really won't get the full benefit because I have two columns, the green technique and the red technique. And really what it does is you learn to manage your wiring and your mind in a different way. So you could, but it's not going to show you how my program is working for you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you're just better off putting it in your notes, like like every day, just say the green technique, the red technique, and then just mark it down there.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, what about, remember you mentioned something about how, your tableware and your silverware and those kind of things can also help you on your journey.
Oh, well, here's what I realized in all of my journaling, that I needed to stay quiet while I ate because I needed to stay focused on using my techniques. So I sit in the same chair when I eat. I use the same plate every day in my house. I use the same utensils. I use the same color napkin because I want to quiet my mind and say how much is enough and how much is too much, and concentrate on controlling the food, which is what brought me to this whole situation in the first place. So listen, when you use a different plate every day, when you change the utensils, if you use a different color napkin, if you sit on the couch and eat instead of your table, every time you change something, that excites you. So all those elements excite you. Do you really want to be excited when your whole focus is to make peace with food and to be in control? No, you want to take away all that excitement of all the externals, the dish, the glass, where you sit, and you want to say, okay, I'm using Sora's technique. I have my food in front of me. How much is enough? How much is too much? And then you want to be in that moment, and really be focused.
So that means a lot of people have this habit where, I don't know, we grew up eating around the table, everyone talking and, being kind of an event. A lot of families these days are somewhat fractured in that way, and people eat in front of the television.
Well, you know what? I'm going to get very flexible on this. As long as you use one of the two techniques, it doesn't matter where you're sitting. Oops. One sec.
We still see you though.
Oh, but I don't see you. Oh my God. Okay, so I'll just continue because something happened.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Um, uh-oh. Let me, let's see. I'm afraid to click on the Zoom business that I'll lose you. Should I try?
Um,
I
I
can
don't.
finish it out this way if.
Yeah, we see you fine and hear you very well.
Okay, I don't see you, so it's okay. I'm afraid that I'll lose you completely. I don't know why this happened.
Because it's technology and that's what it does.
All right.
But that was my question. Okay, 'cause so you said you'll be flexible about the location of the eating.
Well, here's the thing. We want to minimize the excitement attached to change when you're eating, so you're focused on the technique. If you can change your seat and feel that it won't overly excite you, then you can change your seat. But as long as you're using one of the two techniques, then I'm fine.
Okay, that sounds good to me. What do
Okay.
you have any other tips that you want to share with the listeners?
Tips: have patience with yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day, and everything is a process, and everything is one day at a time, 1 second at a time, one step at a time. So never give up on yourself, because I did it. I had hundreds of folks learn the process. And if you don't do this and you don't learn how to manage the food in this way, you're going to have to diet. And so even if you work your butt off, literally and figuratively, and you diet, do you know do you know that 97% of all people who diet regain their weight in 3 years? So
Wow.
exactly. So I'm the kind of person, I like to do things one time and do it well and then not repeat it. So what I'm saying to your listeners, if they want to invest in themselves, if they really know in their heart that diets don't work for them, let them try a new way.
I love that. I love that. Is there how does I mean, do you have any statistics or information on about how long it takes people to really adapt and start really, catching the how to use your system?
Sure. Well, it takes 21 days to do any new behavior. So that's standard, at least 21 days. And don't forget, you're rewiring your brain. And every day you're asking, every time you eat, you're just saying, well, you're just getting used to a new system. So I think everyone needs to be fair to themselves and at least give themselves 3 weeks. Once they live with it for 3 weeks, then they can say to themselves, gee, I like this. I feel better. Or they can say, I don't know what that woman was talking about, but I know what I'm talking about.
I think it's good I think to practice, getting in control of what you do in your mind, and it kind of I think would spill over into other aspects of your life.
Well, here's the thing. When you don't manage what you're putting in your mouth, without sounding like whatever, you really aren't in control of your emotions. You really are in control. You really aren't enough in control of setting your boundaries through your mouth to make the best life possible. Because if you're giving the control over to the food, chances are you're giving the control over to other people as well, because you're not defining your own boundaries by the words that you choose and the actions that you take. Once you learn how to manage your food, you're going to regain your mouth in a way that you didn't even know was possible.
It's so inspiring, Sora. Well,
Thank you,
I
Deborah.
I think I'll have to order a couple of copies for myself to give away to some friends that I know need it. And
Well,
I'll work on my mashed potato addiction.
here's the thing. It took me 30 years from the time I healed myself to having this podcast. So all I can say is that I stand by my word, and I know I'm right.
Okay, well that works for me. That's good enough for me. Well, I want to thank you for stopping by and visiting with us and sharing your wisdom and your technique. I think this is some powerful stuff. And ladies, like I said, there is a link to Sora's book in the show description page down below. I think it would be a good thing. It ties right in with what I've been trying to get you to do is get control of what you think and what you do. This is beautiful. So tell them how they can, find you if they have questions or to interact with you online.
Sure. So I'm a no diet weight loss coach, and my site is www.nodieting.net, www.nodieting.net. And they can purchase my book on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, or at my website, which the name of my book is Eat What You Want, Stop When You Want, a No Diet Weight Loss Program. And if they sign up, they get a free monthly newsletter called Your Make Peace with Food newsletter, and they immediately get a download called Your No. You know what? I've enjoyed it so much I forgot my free download. Here's the name of it. Your no dieting, it's not your fault report. You'll get a report right away. It has pictures. You'll see exactly what I said, why diets don't work, because they're not your rules, girls. It's time to make your own rules.
Yay, that's what I'm talking about. All right. All right, Sora, thank you so much for stopping by and participating in our February programming. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Deborah, and I'm saying goodbye from Manhattan.
Okay, party on.
It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, ladies, that was Sora Venikoff, the no diet weight loss coach. How did you like that? I think I liked what she had to say. I think a lot of times, not just with food, but with most things that we do, we don't really put much thought into it. We just do it just because we want to. No real thought behind it. And I think with the goals that many women have, and they want to be nice looking, they want to build their self-esteem, they want to have a nice figure, want to have a nice wardrobe. You want to feel good about yourself when you look in the mirror, and it starts with what you put in your mouth. Because you can exercise a lot and you still won't get the body that you wanted. Your health will be impacted and everything else because of your food choices and overeating. So I think this is something that you can all put to good use. And yeah, I think she was a great guest as well. I'm glad you all gave up some of your time on this Sunday afternoon to participate. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow. We have another live. Well, we've got 3 more live streams in a row. Lady Boss is gonna beat my behind at the end of this month. But we have 3 more live streams, and then a couple of days of, I think a day or two of a recorded video, and then the final day, February 29th, I will be here live to wrap it all up, tie all the loose ends together, answer any final questions that you have, and then say adios for a week, because you are not gonna see me the first week of March. Don't even look for me. Don't ask me. Don't, no, no, no. I'm going to be in hiding from all of you. So I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this a lot. This was really great. But you ladies, go and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will see you all tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow we're back on at 6 p.m. Pacific time. It's 9 if you're on the East Coast. All right. See you later.